With condo prices soaring like crazy, can you even afford to upgrade to a condo in 2025? Let's break it down and see if it makes sense for you. Okay, so in 2024, as we can see, the prices for new launch condos are averaging about $2,334 per square foot. So an estimated cost for a 3-bedder condo at about 1,000 square feet would be about $2.334 million, increasing from 2023, which is about $1.9 to $2 million. In 2024, the average PSF for resale condos is at 1632 PSF. So a 1,000 square feet 3-bedder condo would roughly cost you about $1.632 million. Now we're talking about upgrading, right? So when you upgrade, you will be selling likely your HDB flat, and some of the sales proceeds will definitely go into your new condo. So HDB prices are also important in this equation as well. So in 2024, the average PSF for HDB flats is around $616 PSF, increasing from $553 in 2023. So generally, a typical 4-room HDB flat at around 900 plus 960 square feet in 2024, according to the data, would sell for roughly $624,000, increasing from the $560 plus thousand in the first half of 2024. So now, because we're upgrading from an HDB to a condo, let's talk about the price gap between a HDB and a condo. So if you want to upgrade from a 4-room HDB flat to a 3-bedder new condo, the price gap would roughly be about $1.7 million. If you're upgrading from a 4-bedroom HDB to a 3-bedroom resale condo, the price gap would be roughly about $1.007 million. So that is quite a significant jump, which is also the reason why a lot of Singaporeans like to upgrade from a HDB to a condo, because history has proven that in Singapore, private properties do increase in price and value much faster than HDB flats, of course, barring lease decay, depending on how old your property is and many other factors. But generally, yes, private property does increase prices faster and much appreciate better than HDB flats. So let's break it down, right? If you're buying a new launch condo in 2025, how much do you need to pay? Let's break it down for you. Assuming that the purchase price is $2.334 million, 75% LTV if you're taking a bank loan will get you about $1.75 million in loan, assuming that you're roughly in your mid-30s with a 30-year loan tenure. With that, your monthly repayment would roughly be about $7.7K, which means your 5% upfront in cash would cost you $1,16700, and your 20%, which can be paid with cash or CPF, would be about $466,800, totaling up to your 25% down payment of $583,500, which means that if you do not have at least $583K or roughly $600,000 in cash and CPF, you are not even close to being able to upgrade. And of course, not forgetting the buyer's stamp duty, assuming that you're only gonna own one property. Buyer's stamp duty for this property would roughly cost you $86,300. If you're upgrading to a 3-bedder new condo, in order to get the loan amount and to be safe, your household income would roughly need to be about 14 to 15K per month in order to just cross the safe mark to upgrade. Of course, if you want to be prudent, then this amount needs to be more. For me personally, I think if you just have the minimum 25% down payment and your salary just crosses the mark to allow you to take that amount of loan, I think it's very dangerous, because you're not planning for bad weather, you're not planning for like black swan events that suddenly you lose your job, you cannot afford the monthly payments and stuff like that. My personal take on this is that you should have a little bit more than what is required of you. So for example, 25% down payment is the requirement. You should try to have at least 30 to 35% in cash and CPF just to have a little buffer. Some people like to have a lot of buffer, but over buffering will have opportunity cost as well, which means you're delaying your purchase, right? So plan your finances very carefully with your real estate consultant and make sure you can afford it. Do not upgrade unless you can really afford it. Now let's talk about buying resale condos, which is much more affordable than new condos. But of course, resale condos versus new launch condos is another topic on itself. I might do another video on that, so stay tuned. So for resale condos, assuming they are purchasing a 3-bedder at about $1.588 million, your 75% LTV bank loan, assuming that you're in your mid-30s, 30-year loan tenure, will get you about $1.191 million in loan, which is 75%. Your monthly monthly installment for that loan amount will roughly be about 4.7k to 5k. And your 25% down payment, 5% in cash would be 79.4k, and your 20% in cash or CPF will be $317,600. Adding up, your 25% down payment would be $397,000. 25% down payment. Not forgetting your buyer's stamp duty at roughly about $49,000 for this purchase price. This means that in order for your family to safely afford a resale 3-bedder condo at the average price, your family would need to make roughly $8.6 to $9,000 in salary. Of course, again, that is the bare minimum. You should always have a buffer. So again, my personal recommendation is if you just cross the bare minimum, you should really think very hard if you want to upgrade, because a little trip in life and then you cannot afford your monthly payments. Not forgetting all the other miscellaneous fees involved in a transaction, like the fees to sell a house, to market a house, to legal fees, renovation if you're moving to a resale condo, and all that really adds up. So what you really need to do is to sit down with your consultant and calculate what makes sense for you, if it's really worth for you to upgrade. Yes, it is important to upgrade if you are looking to increase the value of the real estate that you're owning, and the way to do it is to upgrade from public housing to private housing. Yes, that is very true. However, you do not want to kill yourself over the upgrade process, because why we upgrade is because we want to give our families a better life, to enjoy our property. But if we kill ourselves doing that, then there's no point upgrading, right? So here are my few tips for you to make a decision on whether you should upgrade or not. Keep in mind that these are general tips. You should definitely sit down and do a calculation with your advisor, asking about the calculations that is specific to your situation. So loan eligibility is 55% at TDSR and LTV is 75%, which means that this determines how much money you can borrow. So you have to ensure that your calculations for your salary versus how much you can borrow makes sense for you to do the upgrade. Savings and cash reserves, 25% down payment minimum for a private property. My personal recommendation is to have at least 30 to 35% if possible for a safe upgrade. But if you only just have a 25% bare minimum, again, do your calculations and see if that makes sense for you. I think where a lot of people trip and a lot of people fail is that they have the money to down pay, but they forget that they need to pay this thing called the mortgage repayments or monthly repayments. So if you are in a job that's extremely stable and you are very sure that you can pay the monthly repayments, fantastic. But if you are self-employed like me, or you're running businesses and fluctuations in the economy affect you, then it would be a better idea to make sure that you have much more in cash and CPF reserves, just in case anything happens to your monthly income. Of course, bank interest rate fluctuations is another thing to consider, but that is another topic for another day. But if you can secure a loan at a relatively good interest rate, then definitely that's a fantastic idea. Go and consult your mortgage specialist on that. And of course, your decision-making process also involves a few factors, such as choosing the correct property to upgrade to, such as buying the correct new launch, the correct unit within the correct new launch or resale condo. Because purchasing a condo is not just about an upgrade in lifestyle, but you want to basically increase the value of your property. If you're purchasing a bad property that devalues over time, then the upgrade is a bit pointless also. So you definitely want to choose the correct unit in the correct development to ensure that it not just hold its value, but its value can increase over time if you have holding power. Another factor in the decision-making process is your purpose versus your wants. What is your purpose in upgrading? If your purpose in upgrading is just to show off to your relatives that you're doing well, I think that is a very weak purpose. That is mostly a want rather than a need. However, if your purpose is something along the lines of you want to upgrade to a property because you want to move closer to the primary school of your kids so that they can get into a good school, or you are increasing the value of your real estate portfolio for financial planning such that you can retire comfortably, all these are generally good purposes. If you plan well, you can then achieve your financial goals, whether you are investing in real estate or buying for own stay. And most importantly, is this thing known as an exit strategy. In every asset, every business, every purchase of real estate, exit strategy is one of the key important things. When you are buying something new, it's always very exciting, always very easy to just throw down the money. But how about when you want to sell? Will there be anybody that wants to buy the unit that you bought? What is your exit strategy? My team and myself at Property Partners have 7 checkpoints to check before you buy the property. This is known as our our star property selection system. If you want to find out more about the star property selection system, please contact me and my team at Property Partners and we can run through your situation with you. I will leave the link to contact us in the description below. To end off the video, there have been little signs that the government will put in even more cooling measures in 2025. How will these cooling measures affect the property market? It remains to be seen. It really depends on how intense these cooling measures are. So all of us are waiting to see what cooling measures will be implemented. But make no mistake that hints have been given by the government that cooling measures would indeed be implemented in somewhere in 2025. So click a like, comment, subscribe if you have any questions. Stay tuned for property news. If you love starting businesses and love entrepreneurship and stuff like that, give me a subscribe and I will see you in the next video. Peace!